So yes, please tell me how many of you are aware about the GATE exam or have given the exam before, or this is your first time. Please let me know in the chat box. So you all can write first if this is your first time or okay, first time. Okay, that's great. What about others? Quickly, quickly, quickly. Second time, fine. Okay. So yes, we have a few people who've already given the exam before. We have a few people who are attempting it for the first time. So now let us just quickly understand what is this GATE exam and why is it important. Now, with respect to the GATE exam, it is basically a national level exam that is conducted by various institutes like IITs or IISc, where they check or they try and understand or test your comprehensive understanding of your respective subject at the graduation level. And how is this exam helpful? Can somebody tell me how do you think is this exam helpful? Yes, any idea, any guess, that's also fine. Okay, for Emarch, yes, government jobs. Yes, absolutely. So if you see, GATE is very, very important for us. Now, if you see technically, roughly around 9 to 10,000 students have been appearing for GATE in the past 5 years. If you see the data of the past 5 years, that has gone from 5 to 7,000 to 9 and 10,000 now. Now, it's also because of the awareness that is being spread among the students, and how is it beneficial, or students are rather understanding the benefits of this exam. So what are the benefits? You can consider this more as a pathway to your higher education, or in case if there is somebody who wants to get into government jobs or get into teaching, you can still pursue or give the GATE exam and then pursue with your PhD and likewise. So if you see, let's say at your higher studies level for post graduation or for PhD, it is very, very beneficial because you also get a stipend, and not only the stipend, but this clearing this exam helps you to get admission into these esteemed institutes like your IITs or IISc or even ISER. Okay. Now, other than that, for your government job also, it is quite helpful because there are a lot of PSUs, like Vidya has said, right? It is helpful in PSU recruitments. So, for example, the Airport Authority of India recruits candidates based only on their GATE score. There is no other exam that they conduct specifically, right? So, it is helpful that way also. Now, with respect to post graduation, with GATE score also, what all institutes are something where you can get into is all the IITs, NITs, and SPAs as well. Now, SPAs again with GATE score and without GATE score, like for example, SPA Bhopal and Vijayawada admit students based on the GATE score partially, and a few students without GATE score. Whereas for SPA Delhi, it is more based upon your interview and portfolio, right? Other than that, you have the IISc, like I said, you have your Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, which is under ISRO, where you can also pursue your post-graduation in urban planning. So all these institutes are something that you can get into once you get a good GATE score or a GATE rank, right? And other than that, in case if one does not qualify, government colleges or private colleges are another option. And with respect to government jobs, right? like I said, PSU. So we have a vast basket of PSUs in India. You have your airport authorities, you have CPWD, DMRC, rights. All of these, sometimes they recruit candidates based on their GATE score. Now, let us understand the exam pattern also and a few more details about the exam. Let's dig a little deeper into what this exam is about and how is it going to be. Because of course, if we are giving this exam, it is better to know what is laid in front of you, right? So if you see, the exam is of a total of 100 marks, out of which 15 marks are for general aptitude. So your school level mathematics, right? What time, distance, speed, and all of those questions that we've all studied up to 10th standard in school, right? Plus English, all of that comes under your general aptitude. And 85 marks is for your subject, that is your architecture and planning. Now, in this also, what are the types of questions? Let's quickly take a look at it. So if you see the typology, it can be divided into four. So one, you have recall questions. What do you mean by recall questions? Anybody? Or what do you, let's say, what guess can you take as to what type of questions these would be? Yes, anyone? Yes? Okay. So I will only tell you all. Basically, if you see recall type, it's basically you're trying to remember something. So these are questions which are more of factual based, right? So if you look at the question on screen, who is known as Gandhi of architecture? It's a very, very factual question, if I may say so, right? So you have a few questions which are based on facts or formulas, right? Then you have comprehension related question where you are expected, you as the candidate is expected to have a basic understanding of the topic and more of conceptual clarity. So in that case, if you look at this question where it is asking about the Type A 101 building and the steel spears that are used in it, why are they used? So is it to reduce the horizontal sway because of settlement and wind load or geothermal load or seismic and wind load, right? So now this is a basic concept, like why is something done, right? So you also need to understand this when you are preparing for the exam. Along with facts, you need to have some conceptual clarity also. Then you have a few questions that are application based, where basically you know some theory and you are actually implementing it or using it. So basic example, I'm sure all of you have used AutoCAD, even if you are still a student. I'm sure, yes or no? Have all of you used AutoCAD or still use, right? Even though you are students. So in that case, this question, if you look at it, it is asking about how many OSNAP points does a circle have? If I'm using the OSNAP command, how many maximum points will I get? So this theoretically, yes, we can read it somewhere, but it is also something that we use on a daily basis, right? And the next category is your analysis and synthesis. So basically, in this category, you are expected to know different, or rather compare and analyze whatever information is given to you, and then come to some conclusion. So questions, if I may say so, in this category would be you have to understand or recognize some unstated assumptions as well and use the given information, compare the pieces of information that is given. Now, if I may say so, the question that you can see on the screen, right? It's asking about the bending moment, and they've given some data that the uniformly distributed load is 20 kilonewton per meter, etc., etc. The beam is 8 meter long, etc. The span is so much and so much, right? Now, in this case, they've given you information and expect you to analyze and come to a conclusion. So, majorly, these category of questions are your NAT or numerical based question, right? Now, how many of you are aware that the GATE syllabus have changed a few years ago? Yes, are you all aware about this? How many of you have gone through the syllabus? Yes, okay, almost all of you have that idea, which is great. Now, if you see the type of questions, now in earlier we always had MCQ questions, that is multiple choice question, where you have only one correct answer, right? So if I may look at the question here, which institute is organizing GATE 2024 exam? So can you all tell me the answer for this?
IISc Bangalore.
Yes, correct, right? Now, can there be any other correct answer for this? Definitely no. There's only going to be one correct answer. Now, later when the syllabus changed, they had also introduced MSQ, that is multiple select questions, where one or more than one could be your correct answer. So if you look at this question, which of the following is or are states in India? So what would your correct answer be? Can I say A, B, and D? Will all of you agree with me? Yes. So all of these three are states that we have in the country, right? So there is no only one correct answer. You have three correct answers in this case. And the next type of questions are your NAT questions, that is numerical answer type, where you will be given some question. There will be no options for this. You just have to type out whatever answer you get after calculation in the numericals. And now, if you see your MSQ and NAT, both of them do not have any negative marking. So even if I say strategically, you should attempt all MSQ questions because you don't have anything to lose, right? In this case. Another important point with respect to MSQ. Now, suppose if I would have only answered that in this case, that which of the following is or are states in India, if I would have only said Maharashtra and Gujarat, I know my answer is partially correct. It's not completely correct, right? So in this case also, though it is partially correct, I will still not get any marks for this question. Okay. When I answer all these three is only when I get the marks. Is everybody clear with this part? Okay. And if you see the marking scheme, right? So for aptitude, you have 10 questions of 15 marks, where you have one mark questions which are of 5 1-mark questions, and you have 5 2-mark questions, which adds up to your total of 15. And in our architecture and planning section, it is divided into two. That is section A and section B. So section A is basically a compulsory section, which is a common part. Now, in this case, it consists of 60 marks. So you have 39 questions in total, 18 questions of 1 mark each, and 21 questions of 2 marks each. So that makes it 18 and 42 and adds up to 60. And in section B, now it is divided into two. That is, you have B1, which is your architecture part, and B2, which consists of planning. So you as a candidate, you have the choice to choose between B1 or B2 what you want to attempt. And in this case, you will also be able to see both the questions on the screen, right? So it's not that if you choose to go with planning or section B2, It's not like that you will not get to see the questions from section B1. You will get to see questions from both the sections and then take your call as well. So section B basically is of 25 marks. You have 7 questions of 1 mark each and 9 questions of 2 marks. That adds up to 80. Now, in this case, if let's say you are somebody who's planning to pursue your master's in maybe urban planning or transportation planning, any planning related domain. So it is not necessary that you have to go for section B2, which is planning. You can even attempt section B1, which is of architecture, and still go for pursuing masters in planning. That is also allowed. Or vice versa, that if let's say you are planning to pursue or do MArch, right? So even when you want to do MArch, in that case, even if you attempt planning questions, you can still take admission for MArch. There is no specific bifurcation or anything that if you want to do planning, then you have to attempt section B2. So that is not the case. Okay. And with respect to the negative marking for MCQs, every 1 mark question that is there, if you give a wrong answer, 1/3 mark will be deducted. And for a 2 mark MCQ question, for a wrong answer, 2/3 negative marking will be given. Okay, if you all want, you all can take a screenshot of this as well. So why I'm saying that is because this will help you strategize better when you are preparing or when you're studying. Okay, the weightage will help you prioritize your subjects as well. Now, if I may say, in aptitude, what all kinds of aptitude you have? Verbal, you have quantitative, analytical, spatial, right? All of this. So verbal is basically your English, quantitative is the 10th standard mathematics that I spoke about. Analytical is basically related to your reasoning, analytical and spatial, right? Then common section, you have architecture, planning and design, construction management, environmental planning, urban design, landscape conservation, planning process, housing, services and infrastructure. Now, all of this, if you see, now what we usually suggest to students is that at this moment, please don't pre-decide that I'm only going to do uh, planning or I'm only going to attempt section B2 and ignore B1. Please don't do that. Because if you see here, right, you have services and infrastructure or planning. These parts are again somewhere related to your section B2 also. And a few parts from section B1 are also over here, like construction, right? So if I just look at section B1, you have history, you have building construction and structures, and building services and sustainability. So your climatology, all of that, what you study at graduation level is again asked over here. And with respect to planning, if I may say, you have regional and settlement planning, planning techniques and management, and infrastructure planning. Now this basically is more of your transportation planning. That is what is focused on under infrastructure plan. Okay. And if I may look at the cutoff of the previous years from 2011 to 2023, right? So you can see the variation from 45 to 37 that was last year, 33.7 that was there last year cutoff with the highest marks as 75. Now, okay, how many of you want to get into IITs for pursuing your masters? Or maybe even some government job or aiming for PSUs. Yes, just raise your hands quickly. Yes. So now in that case, getting only 33.7 would not be a good idea because that is just a cutoff, right? We need to aim for a higher score, higher marks, because that will then get us a better rank. Okay. So you can, if you want to analyze again, you can still take a screenshot of this as well. But okay, all of this we've spoken about. But how or what is the weightage and how or what type of questions are asked or which subject is focused on more? So if you look at this analysis done by the Exam Assured team, from 2007 to 2023, major focus has been on subjects like your architecture and design. Now, this also includes your graphics, universal design, basic standards, etc. And plus all the architecture design principles and all of that. You have history of architecture. We all know it's a vast, vast subject, but yes, a lot of questions have been asked on your temple architecture, modern architecture, your Greek, Roman, all of that. You have building materials, construction management, which holds almost 16% from 2007 to 2023. You have environmental planning, urban planning, and planning techniques. You have services, infrastructure and transportation, which again holds 11%. And then you have your few light subjects, which are more of conceptual based, which are not so theoretical as the others. So, or factual, like you have landscape, urban design, housing, right? So now if you look at this chart, can you all tell me what subject should I be prioritizing the first? Yes? What would you do if you have this analysis? What would be your strategy or your idea? Yes, anybody?
What we can do is like prioritize architecture and design, and the other one is building materials, construction and management.
Right. So now going by this data that we have, right, after analyzing papers from 2007 to 2023, that is what we are obviously going to do. So what I will be sharing with you right now is a strategy starting right from Monday till the date of the exam. What all should you prioritize? How should you go about it? Okay. And in the following weeks, we will be also discussing or letting you know about what all should be focused upon on each subject. For example, let's say in history of architecture, I'll be discussing about in history, let's say Indian architecture. In Indian architecture, what all things are important that have been repeatedly asked? What is important for you to study, right? Now, moving to the strategy, like some most of you are saying focus on design and BCM, etc. Let's come to the strategy, right? So you can start with a subject like history, which is vast plus has a higher weightage from the analysis, right? Because we all know history is a vast, vast subject. So let us give it a good amount of time as well, because there are a lot of facts. So roughly around 8 to 10 days for history. Starting, let's say maybe you take a break tomorrow and start right from Monday. From 20th to 30th, you finish history completely, right? From Monday to Saturday. But what will you do on Sundays then is start with your revision. Okay. So whatever you study this entire week from 20th to 25th, you revise that on 26th. The same for the next week. Like you take another 10 days for architecture and design, right? Where it is again not only your graphics and everything, but from the detailed analysis, you have a lot more other subjects or other smaller topics that you need to focus upon in this, right? Then you can maybe go for a little theoretical subject where you have to look at services, infrastructure, and transportation. So another 10 days for that. So let's finish off higher weightage and vast subjects at the earliest. So by the time the exam is near, you are less tension free, right? You are more of, you don't have more of tension, and you can still focus on studying, right? Now, let's say you finished one very theoretical subject like services, then move on to another conceptual subject, which is environmental planning, where you need to know basics, let's say definitions of what is ecology, what is ecotone, what is a niche, etc., etc. Right? After that, we've done one conceptual, maybe we can then move to urban planning, and again, all the Sundays utilize for revision of what you've studied in the previous week. Or if you wish, if you have that much time, you can also revise as to what you have done all till date. So let's say on 24th of December, when I sit for my revision, I first revise services and infrastructure, what I've done from 18 to 21st, and 2 days of environmental planning, whatever I've studied. I finish that off. Now, since you've studied that dedicatedly, right, for the entire week, I'm sure it's not going to take you the same amount of time. Yes, will it take the same amount of time that you've put in for 6 days to revise? Or the revision will be quick? Less time, yes, Maria, right? So it will be a quicker revision, lesser time. Now, once that is done, let's say on 24th, you are done with services and infrastructure and environment, and you have another time, you have more time in hand, right? What you can do is then quickly go through services that you've done in the previous week, architecture and design that you've studied in the previous week as well, right? And maybe history. Now, this, once you are revising, let's say architecture and design or services and infrastructure on 24th of December, which you've again already revised on 10th and 17th, it's going to take you much, much less time, right? So maybe this could be done in half an hour. This could take maybe 40 minutes, right? Because you've already revised it twice and thrice. Do all of you agree with this? Have you all also experienced this maybe while studying for exams? When you are revising something, chalo, today I study this, tomorrow if I revise it, and if I revise it repeatedly, there is a point where I don't need to even look at the book, right? It's all in your memory. Because if you see these exams, studying is important, but revision is very, very important. Okay, let's move ahead. What are we going to study in January? Right, we continue with urban planning and techniques for another week. Then give a week for building construction and material. Another 5 days for structures, because if you see, there was only 6% questions that have come, right, from the overall bunch of 2007 to 2023. Another 2 days for landscape, 2 days for urban design, 3 days for housing, where 1 day you can dedicate in that for all the numericals related to housing. Right? And again, what do you do on the weekends or on Sundays is revise all of this. Right? Now, I'm sure this is something all of us have studied in college, so nothing is new to you. Okay? So you don't have to be scared that, okay, it's only 75 days left and how am I going to prepare? All of this you all have studied for the 5 years, or let's say the 2-3 years, whatever, maybe you are in fourth year or third year, right? So none of this is new to you. You don't have to start from scratch, right? So believe in yourself and you can do that revision also. And once you are done by 26th, 27th January, you are done with covering the entire syllabus. What do you do till the date of exam? From 28th to, let's say, the exam that the dates are not yet out, but exam takes place either on the first or the second weekend of February, right? So assuming that maybe the date is 3rd or 4th, the entire week from 28th Feb to 28th January to 2nd Feb, you can utilize for revision. Or in case if it comes, the date is announced on the second weekend, you still have 2 weeks to revise. Now, since you have always been revising, right, on Sundays, right, where again, in case if you follow that method where on one Sunday you revise everything right from start till last week, if you do that, I'm sure by the time you reach 28th Feb, 28th January, sorry, you will know what are your weaknesses, right? You will know that, okay, I'm not able to remember the names of all the planners. So in this period from 28th to 2nd Feb, right, you can utilize or you know how to now streamline your revision preparation also. Now you will only focus on things that you are weak at and try and strengthen that more. That does not mean that you completely neglect what you are also aware about. You revise that. Maybe let's say that if I revise the name of planner, something that I can't remember, if I revise that 10 times, maybe I revise things which I know very, very clearly at least 2 times, right? So that is something that will help you with your entire preparation and help you get a good rank. And trust me, it is not difficult to get a higher rank, right? And other than that, along you have to focus on two things. One is preparing on the exam front and personal front. So on the exam perspective, do a previous year question paper analysis and practice mock tests. And on the personal front, please don't be bothered about which friend has finished studying how much, right? Please don't get into that. And also, like I said, identify your weaknesses and work upon them. So the technique of revision, revising again and again, will definitely help you identify your weaker sections, right? And I'm sure all of you by now also are somewhere a little bit aware also about maybe I'm not good at memorizing things or I can't remember facts. So let's say I'll revise history more, right? So it could be the weaknesses are not going to be the same for all, right? So you can work upon that as well. Now with this, to help you students, we are also starting with a target batch that is beginning from 19th November until 26th January 2024, where it will be a 120 hours live program where you will have classes 7 days a week from 8 to 9:30 on weekdays and 6:30 to 9:30 on weekends. Now, with respect to this, all the faculty that we have are previous year GATE top rankers like AIR 2, 5, 24, 4, etc. All the classes will be live and the focus will be much, much streamlined as to only what all is needed for the exam, rather than teaching all 5 years of architecture, which is really not needed, right? Now, with respect to this also, you will also be getting class recordings and you will get a previous year paper also that is solved with explanation and sectional tests which are streamlined subject wise as well as full length mock tests for your preparation. Okay, so subject wise sectional test is basically a test series that will be conducted. Okay, and along with that, even the practice of previous year questions will be helpful. So we will also be providing that. Other than that, we will also be attending all your doubts one-on-one with respect to whatever queries you might have. If you, let's say you're studying structures and you're not understanding something that is being taught, you can also connect with the faculty who has taught structures. We will connect you with them and get your doubts cleared, right? So this is the link which is also shared in the chat box and shared on your screen where you can enroll for the course. Other than that, if you have any queries, any questions, you may please ask. Yes, you can unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat box. That would also be fine.
What is the last year cutoff for SPA Delhi or is any SPA?
It's varying as per the branches. So you'll have to just go on their website once and check, because every different branch has different cutoffs. And it's all based on your interview. So SPA Delhi primarily admits students on the basis of interview and portfolio, whereas SPA Bhopal and Vijayawada, they have a hybrid model where they take few students based on gate score and few students through interview.
So, ma'am, if we I want to go to SPA Delhi, can I skip the gate exam?
I would suggest to not do that.
Okay.
Why? Because the competition is very high. I'm not discouraging or anything, but to be on a safer side, we can, in case if you're planning for SPA Delhi, you can use GATE as a backup just in case,
Okay, ma'am.
right? So it's better to give the exam, because let's say maybe you get into SPA Delhi and you get IIT also. If you, what do you say? If you get a really good rank, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay, ma'am.
yes. Okay. When can we schedule our timing? As in for what, Akanksha? Okay, so aptitude, we will be providing printed notes, like it's already mentioned. Yes. Any more questions? Anybody? Sayantani, environmental planning. So if you see in your what do you say? The best ones, that is your NIT Calicut for environmental and sustainable planning, and you have your SPA Delhi as well. Okay. Okay, how to allocate time for aptitude? Very good question, Rahul. So if I may just go back to this slide for revision, right, that we have here. So these Sundays that you are getting, dedicate 1 hour every Sunday to aptitude. Or let's say, suppose you feel, okay, somebody feels that no, my aptitude and maths is really weak. What you can do, every day starting from mid-December, right? From December, yes, let's say from 18th December onwards, give 1 hour every day for aptitude. Why I'm suggesting it a little bit late is because it has a lot of formulas, etc., which you need to again memorize, right? So the later you start, the easier it will be also to remember, right? Because it will be still fresh for you as the exam comes nearby. Right, so from 18, if you feel you're very weak and it's very difficult aptitude, from 18th, or if you feel right from 20th November, from Monday itself, you can start with 1 hour or half an hour at least every day, dedicatedly. Fine. And yes, since you're talking about aptitude, everybody please don't take aptitude lightly. Do attempt it, because trust me, we have students who, because of 0.6 marks, there is a difference in ranking of 100, right? So that is how the statistics are with respect to GATE. So somebody with 0.5 marks less has 100, has a rank which is 100, lower by 100 from another candidate. So take aptitude seriously. NAT is included in this course. Yes, Neha, NAT, your numerical questions, whatever subject the faculty is teaching. Suppose, let's say if I'm teaching housing, right? So when I'm teaching housing, there will be a part where I will also be taking your numericals for housing. Okay. Cutoff marks for CTM in NITs. Okay, that we'll have to check once because I don't remember all. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, is there any option like I can opt for only for notes and not for the live classes?
I think the team will be able to answer that better.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Currently, it's not available separately. So you have
Okay,
to buy it. Yes.
okay.
How many hours? Okay, how to distinguish between a MCQ and MSQ? Okay, so there will be a mark that will be given there, I think, right? Or no, sorry, that is in the test series that we give. But for GATE, right now, it is you have to take a call based on the questions. Right? So how many hours a day should we study minimum for all subjects? Okay. So I would say, see, basically all of us are humans. We can't study continuous 8 and 10 hours. That is humanly impossible. What you can do is plan your studies at least minimum 2 hours per day. If you can sit continuously 2 hours, it's more than good. But otherwise, since again, we have shorter time spans. So you can divide it into 1 hour slots and plan your study that way. Fine, at least minimum 2 hours is what I'm saying. The more the better, because more details will also get covered in the preparation. Fine. Okay. We will have another dedicated session after GATE during your admission time for portfolios and interview, etc. Okay. Yes, GATE score is also considered for SEP, but again, they focus more on the interview part. For urban planning, the best that is there is Delhi and SPA Delhi. And other than that, if you see your IITs, etc., there you have courses related to infrastructure planning or city planning, right? Okay. Number of hours the classes will schedule every day. Yes. So Aparna, the classes will be all throughout the week, all 7 days. On the weekdays, that is Monday to Friday, you will have class from 8 to 9:30 p.m. And on Saturday, Sunday, you will have class from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Okay. Ma'am, after GATE score, do we apply in interested colleges separately? Yes. Yes, Aish, we will be covering both architecture as well as planning because it's better to be prepared with both. And since you have the option of seeing questions from both B1 as well as B2, preparing for both of this will be much, much helpful. Okay. Yes, anybody, any other question? Cutoff for MDes at IIT Roorkee and Kanpur. We will conduct another session once we are done with the GATE exam. Right now, let's focus on GATE and also IIT. I think for MDes, these institutes have their separate exams, which they focus on more, right? We will get, yes, you will be provided with lecture recordings as well as online notes plus printed notes of or all that is being taught. Along with that, you will also get sectional tests and full-length mock tests. Minimum, how many days will it take to prepare for structures, ma'am? Okay, so it depends. If you are very, very good at structures, maybe 2 or 3 days, 2 days also would be enough. But for, let's say, somebody like me who is weak in structures, I would at least need 6 to 7 days to go through the concepts and all of that. So it completely depends on you, Shravani, if how is your hold on the subject of structures. Okay. Do you suggest the class hours, which is around 3 hours plus 1.5 hours self-study? See, class, we will, once you are done with the class, what you can do is keep on revising that, right? And one very, very important thing that we tell all our students is, in the class, please take your running notes. That will be very, very helpful. And in the class, we are going to cover everything that is needed for the exam, because all the faculty are people who have cleared this exam not once, not twice, many times with good ranks, right? So they have already focused and streamlined what they need to teach. And all the faculty is expert and are postgraduates in their respective fields. So, for example, the urban design faculty has pursued their masters in urban design, transportation faculty has pursued masters in transportation planning, and likewise, right? So they know, and they have streamlined the entire structure, the course structure. Okay. Okay, should we need experience in planning to do planning? Not necessary. So mock tests will start once as we go through the sessions or as we proceed with the lectures. Let's say this week we finish housing, for example. So by the time we finish housing, the next day you will be given tests, the sectional tests related to housing to solve, right? So with that, you also can analyze and test yourself and know that how much you need to more focus on your preparation, etc. Fine? Okay, Maria? Ritik Raj, yes, MDES also, some institutes do consider GATE score, some consider GATE along with their separate exam. Okay? Mock test schedule means what is the timing? Okay, timing we will let you know once we begin with the classes. Okay? Yes, anybody, any more questions, any queries? Okay, so you have your IIT, Kanpur, etc., which focus on that. Some also consider seed score for MDES. Okay. Does the above mentioned thing like mock tests are available for? Yes, it is available for all batches. Is exam assure conducting day-wise quizzes like they used to conduct 5 questions per day on WhatsApp group? Yes, that is being conducted as well. So that is being shared with the students. Yes, Gautam, but that is after GATE, after you're done with giving the exam. Because right now we need to focus on exam and get a good score. And then only we will have the choice as to what institute we can go for. Okay? Yes, anybody, any more queries?
Yes, we are conducting daily quizzes on our Instagram page. So you can check our stories on Instagram. You will get our daily quizzes on there, which will be helpful for exam.
Okay. Yes, any more queries, anybody? So right now for target batch, we will be providing notes for aptitude. Okay, Rahul? And a class would be conducted later on, beginning from December. So that time we will also notify you about the same. Yes, so I think the link will be available on your app, Hana. Okay, I will look into it, but today let's focus little more on GATE. Okay? Yes, anybody, any more queries related to GATE, the exam, the preparation, or the target batch, anything? Okay. So in the coming weeks, we will be conducting a few more sessions where we will be discussing about each subject and a little bit detailed analysis about what topics one needs to focus on, right? Okay. Okay, Gautam, we can discuss this with the other students as well who've enrolled into the batch and then take a call, right? Okay, recordings will be provided for every lecture that is conducted, plus you'll all get online notes. Okay. Yes, anybody, any more queries, any doubts? Okay, Anup Gowda is saying, can you show the November chart once again? Yes, please. Yes. So you give 10 days for history of architecture because it is vast. That's why 10 days. You have to cover Indian plus Western plus modern architecture, all of that, right? Okay. Anybody, any more queries? Otherwise, we can call it a day. In case of any further queries, you can contact on the number that is shared on the screen for any doubts related to the exam or the batch. Okay. So thank you, everybody. I hope this session was helpful. And also you can click on the link shared in the chat box, which is the WhatsApp group for Exam Assure, where you will be we will be sharing all the updates related to the exam as well as other strategies, etc.
Also, we will share recordings of this session in the WhatsApp group, so you can join WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, everybody.